Hello, my Gwent family. I'm Octo, and this transmission is coming to you from the deep blue. Today's deep dive deck guide is the high win rate NG Assimilate. This is one of my favorite decks, and I thought it'd be helpful to go through it with you because it can be complicated. It's one of those decks that'll make you fall in love with Gwent or need medication. So I have some cards for you. You may have seen, or maybe you haven't, but you probably have though, because the meta is full of this stuff right now. And the reason for that is because if you know how to play the deck properly, you can deal with almost anything. So just keep in mind there are a lot of things to consider each turn when you're playing Nilfgaard. One of the problems that we struggle with is being proactive. This deck really thrives on red coin, and we really prefer a long round so that we can build up those assimilate points. And we want to have a lot of targets to choose from on the opponent's side of the board. Nilfgaard is a really fun and challenging faction, and sometimes we find some really crazy plays. So let's get started. The build that I'm playing here is the same build used by Wanged in Gwent Open number 3 recently. His version went for kind of a more spy-heavy build in favor of the Blightmaker, which is a really strong card, but I suppose just for the synergy, we're gonna opt out of that for this build and just go super control heavy. So I did manage to reach a 73% win rate during one run on the pro ladder, and here is the proof of that. So, and also the reason we're playing this version is just based on the stats here. You can see Wanged is in the top 500 of pro ladder and has carried a 72% win rate with Nilfgaard. So we're using his version. There's a lot of stuff to cover here, so grab some snacks and we'll go through it. You can instead of playing this version, you can also play the more damage heavy with soldiers. That can be a lot of fun too, and you can add even more tactics in that version. You can play Enslave with some siege weapons and people who copy tactics, and you can play Master of Puppets, which is also a lot of fun, and that can get some crazy plays, and then you can use your soldiers to target the Master of Puppets and remove it from the board and not give them an opportunity to use it again, or you can just lock it. But this version has a lot of versatility. Just starting with Arto right here. Arto is a really strong card. Sometimes can put upwards of 20 points on the board if you include the fact that he and Bravens trigger Assimilate for themselves as well as other allies, and create a new unit for you. Typically you want to try to save Arto for the last round, or if you can play him early if you really need the reach, because that can be a big point slam. Just try to keep a mental note of all the cards that you've given spying to throughout the match, and you'll have your choice of any of those to copy with Arto. So next we have Joachim. I guess I could tell you what the card does. Yeah, Arto has Assimilate, spawns a copy of a non-disloyal, so a loyal ally. They say non-disloyal because we play a lot of disloyal cards, but any non-disloyal that you gave spying to. So Joachim is a spy or disloyal, will play on the opposite side, and boosts a unit by 8. And this is, in my opinion, one of the strongest cards in the deck. If you don't draw Joachim, that can make the difference between winning or losing. Especially in short rounds, Joachim is really strong. And usually paired with a coup de grace, he can make some really big points. And sorry, I was saying Joachim can also be key to playing your remaining loyal allies. So if you have a few cards left that you really need to get to, Joachim can hit both of those. And often you can use him to thin the last 2 units, or the last 2 non-disloyal units in round 3. So, and you can also thin one of them, and then you can save the second copy of Joachim for something you target with Invocation, which can be a really strong play, and I'll get to that later. But it can be a really tricky card also. You have to keep in mind that we have a lot of units with deploy. So if you play Joachim early, you just have to be mindful of what unit you might have that's going to trigger something. So don't play him too early unless you really don't have any other options. So next we have Brothens, which is also Assimilate. We play a lot of Assimilate, so we're going to be copying and spawning a lot of cards that we don't have in our deck typically. The main thing that we're going to be doing is kind of thinking like the opponent, and it really helps to know the meta and know what your opponent's playing just from seeing the leader ability. So Brothens is going to create a bronze disoil from your deck, of which we have 2 in the form of Informant and Emissary. Most of the time you're going to use Brothens to spawn an Informant, and that's going to let you copy any of their bronze units on the opposite side of the board. Otherwise, if there aren't any good targets or aren't any targets at all, you use it for Emissary, and you'll just boost Brothens to protect him, because with Assimilate he can grow pretty large, and or you can use Emissary to boost something else if you need to. Yeah, really versatile card, and it's good to hold for the last round, or play early for a lot of reach. And a lot of times with the Informants, you want to wait until you see some nice juicy bronzes. So next we have Vincent. which has deploy. So remember that if he's still in your deck and you haven't played Joachim. I'm never going to get that right. So let's just forget about it. And can we just move on from that? I mean, yeah, okay. Vincent, yeah, destroy an enemy with status. Very simple, right? It's deceptive in its simplicity. Vincent can hit so many targets. I'm always shocked by the potential for Vincent. So the statuses that you really want to remember are locks, which we can create, but that's kind of a poor use of Vincent. If you have to lock something with Imprisonment and then use Vincent to destroy it, it's just not good value. But also anything that has spying. So we have several cards that give spying, and that gives them a status. So we can now target those with Vincent, and then we can copy them later if we want also. So that's cool. And so we have locks, spying, units with veil. Often people will boost their veil units because they're protected, and they can't be locked and can't acquire other statuses. But if they have veil, such as Melusine, they can be destroyed with Vincent. Lock, spying, veil. Another good one is Doomed. If you're playing against like a 9-point forest, Force of Nature, the monster leader ability, you can take that out. Morhan, or what's his name from the Tactical Decision Leader. Also units of Vitality. If you're playing against Nature's Gift, they're often going to be boosting things with Vitality. Some of those elves can get pretty big, and if they have 1 point of Vitality left that hasn't been used yet, you can take it out with Vincent. Also units with Bleeding. Don't see that a lot. Units that have been poisoned. That you see in the ball version of this deck. We play Vincent. Also units with Bounty. And that's the thing, like, we're playing Assimilate, so we're often copying what the opponent's doing. So if they have a lot of units that give Bleeding, we can also give Bleeding. So we can create other statuses. A lot of times when you're playing against Syndicate, you'll have the option of giving things Bounty. And just as a fun example, there have been times when I've had to damage something with the leader ability, so that we could copy it with Ku. I think it was Kurt, actually. They had put a bounty on our Bloody Good Friends, which had been boosted, and then we copied Kurt and used it to purify the bounty. Anyway, so you can also destroy things with shields. So often people will boost things with shields, have a really tall unit and think it's safe, because they're expecting you to remove the shield with damage first, but Vincent just takes it off the board, so that's good. And most importantly, Vincent can destroy units with Defender. That is probably the most common status that I forget about. And anytime you have something that uses Purify a Defender, that's something that a lot of people forget. So I think we've covered that card. Let's go on to Yennefer's Invocation. It's obviously a really strong card. A lot of times you want to hold it until the end. Sometimes you want to play it early so you can copy something on their side of the board. Invocation's great. Not only do you remove something from their side of the board, but it moves to your side, which, we're Assimilate. We want to take cards from the opponent and copy them and kind of use their strength against them. So it's really helpful to know the strong points of the opponent's deck. Sometimes you also want to save Invocation for the turn immediately before playing Joachim. Ha! Got it right that time. Immediately the turn before you play Joachim, or if Joachim's already on the board, and you want to hit something with Invocation and then copy Joachim, you're going to hit that top loyal or non-disloyal card. So if we've just hit it with Invocation, it goes to our top, and then we play it with Joachim. Next, probably one of the top 3 strongest cards. I mean, combined with Joachim, typically you want to have both of those together, but especially in Assimilate, Coup de Grace is extremely powerful. It only damages an enemy by 3. It looks really weak, but we can play it twice with Echo. If you get Death Blow to trigger, you can play a copy of the card that you just destroyed. A lot of times you might think that's only good for a weak target, but through a long round, you can weaken a really strong unit, and if you get that Death Blow, you get a base copy of whatever it was, be it She Who Knows, anything really, really strong. And the other great thing is if the target has conspiracy, if the conspiracy ability allows us to trigger the Death Blow ability, meaning if it has spying. And we give a lot of units spying. So this gives us the ability to target some of the opponent's best units with spying, and regardless of what the power is, we're going to copy it with Coup de Grace. So typically you want the original copy or plan for the Echo copy to use on, to use with Joachim in the same round. So be mindful of that. There's a lot of things to remember with this deck, so you want to practice it a lot. But there are a lot of cool plays with Coup de Grace. I think I've covered everything for that card. Yeah, getting to copy some of their best units is pretty crazy. Gorthur Gavid is kind of a tricky card. So it has resilience, typically, and then as deploy, we get one of 4 choices. Viper Witcher, Witcher Mentor, which can be really strong. Viper Witcher is okay, we can clog something, very situational. Witcher Mentor, if we're playing the location here as our 3rd card or lower, you can often play a Witcher Mentor for 12 points, 10 to 12 points easy. Depending on what round it is, what cards they have left. Alchemist, I'll get to in a second. Witcher Adept is decent, especially in the version that plays Blightmakers, but we're going to be thinning cards. We thin several with Joachim, we thin several with Dead Man's Tongue. So you might actually play an Adept too. Typically, what people go for is the Alchemist. So I think I'm going to take a step back for just a second. The Gorthur location really requires a strong knowledge of the board state and the matchup, as well as the cards on the board and the cards outside the board. This works in combination with other cards like Cantarella. But speaking of copying and stealing the opponent's cards, the Alchemist is extremely hated card right now, and can do some really crazy things. So just make sure you don't play Alchemist if you're facing Spirosier. That's all I'm gonna say. So if we have knowledge of low value cards in our top 3 of our library, the Alchemist gives us an opportunity to ditch those, and we can steal the opponent's top card. So sometimes that can be really devastating. You may take their most powerful, highest provision card. Same with Cantarella, and I'll get to that later. But the Alchemist is kind of tricky. Sometimes you can hurt yourself. If you don't know what your top 3 cards are, you may end up giving them one of your good cards. So, and the other options are also useful but situational, as mentioned. And then the order ability, which we will use on the turn after we play, or in the next round. Since we have resilience, the order ability remains. So with the order ability, we can take one of the opponent's best cards that they've either already played in a previous round, or it's been removed from the board in the current round. And we can put that on top of their library. This also includes spies that we've already played on their side of the board, such as Informants or Roderick or Joachim. And then we can take Cantarella, which plays the top card of their library, and we can steal it. Oh, and the other thing about the order ability is sometimes you want to use it to target one of their low value cards and just clog their library. So, if you know you're going to a next round and you didn't have any other options, that's the play. All right. Weird card. Moving on. So, Minnow Cohorn. I sometimes I don't even want to try to pronounce some of this stuff because I have no idea, especially when it's someone's name. Does anyone really know the correct way to say these names? It doesn't seem worth trying sometimes. But it's fun to try, I guess. So anyway, I'm rambling. He is a soldier, and also a deploy ability. So it's something you really have to keep in mind with Joachim. If you're gonna summon him from your deck, but you can set up some really cool chains with that. You throw down Joachim, trigger into Minnow, which triggers into his deploy ability, which is play a tactic from your deck, which can usually grab coup de grace, which can be played on Joachim. It's weird. So let me get to my notes. So for Minnow, we have several tactic options. Typically, you're going to want to grab coup de grace. So if you draw both Minnow and coup de grace, you can safely ditch the coup. Otherwise, you can keep both and go for another tactic, such as assassination or Imperial Diplomacy or Tourney Joust. If that's all you have left, who cares about Tourney Joust, right? Okay, next card, Artorias Vigo. I feel comfortable saying that name, but I usually just say Vigo anyway. But who cares? I don't know why I'm even talking about these things. Also, another Assimilate card, which is great. Also another deploy card, something you got to remember with Joachim. It's so easy to forget these things. You know, you're like, oh yes, I'm gonna hit my top unit, and if they don't have a target on the board and you just break the deploy ability, that's on you. That's on you for not knowing your deck. So, know thyself. Alright. So we have a deploy ability. Create and play a 1-power copy of a bronze unit from your starting deck. Alright. Sorry, I just had to make sure I was recording. That would have been a drag. Yeah, Vigo is a really fun and versatile card. He can go pretty large if he's ignored. You know, he starts at 2 power. He triggers Assimilate for himself, so he'll be 3 power when it comes around to the opponent's turn. But a lot of times he gets ignored, and he, you know, just like the Mage Torturer, which is our bronze Assimilate, they grow. So we can copy any bronze in our deck, be that a loyal, typical bronze, or a spy. A 1-power Mage Torture is just fine, and is usually a really good target, and it will grow far beyond 1 power. Additionally, the Mage Torture is going to apply spying for us. That's a really key ability. So a lot of times you want to play Vigo, and you know, when you see that target that you want to hit with spying, that you want to copy later, and so there's a lot of thinking ahead with this deck. Really challenging, but really fun, I'm telling you. So we can also create a turncoat, not a bad 1-power unit. If they don't have any removal, which does happen, you can just sit there and ping away at targets that you've given spying to, or spies that you've played. We can also create an informant or an emissary. You can use the emissary, often that is the play, so that you can protect Vigo, because he has low power and you can boost him up and he will continue to grow. The other good thing about emissary is it's a proactive card. Sometimes we don't have targets for informant, so you'll just drop an emissary. Also, the crazy thing about emissary and informant, they are already 1 power, so you're getting a full copy of the unit. So remember that. All right, I told you this is a long list, but this is a tricky deck. There's a lot of things to think about. So next one, Dead Man's Tongue. That is next, right? Yeah. Which is a spell. Remember that, it's not a tactic, it is a spell. So a lot of times you want to mulligan away cards to get this. Just remember, you can't grab it. You want to play it typically kind of early. You know what? Follow the script, man. I'll get to my notes in a second. All right, so we get to banish a card and boost an ally by the provision cost. The thing to keep in mind, if the banished card was bronze, we get to banish another bronze. This card is super versatile as well. You can actually banish a gold if you need to. What's cool about that, and I actually hadn't thought about that because I don't think I have ever done that. But if you have a Cantarella left or something like that, that you're not going to use, that's 7 points. And if you have bronzes that you still want to play, then you can do that. So typically we're gonna hit 2 bronzes. So Dead Man's Tongue is really great for reach. You can use it for some point slam in a turn that you're being bled, or use it early, and it's going to thin 2 cards, which is really important. Often with this deck, we're going to nearly play all of our cards. It's really shocking, especially the version that includes Roderick. All right, got too many tabs open. So the thing about Dead Man's Tongue, and this is also easy to forget because in combination with Joachim, it can be tricky, but carefully balancing the cards that you have left, sometimes you kind of want to think about those together. Typically you'll hit bronzes that you know you're not going to play, like Emissary or whatever, Joust. Yeah, you'll want to remove your unwanted bronze loyals, and this is the key thing. You got to remember this. Listen, you want to remove the bronze loyals so that you can use Joachim to hit your gold loyals. And I say loyals because we play a lot of disloyals, the spies that play on their side of the board. Whatever's not a spy, we're going to hit it with Joachim. So if you can ditch the last couple bronzes with Dead Man's Tongue, you're going to hit all your good cards with Joachim. So that's why I say Joachim is extremely critical to draw in almost any matchup. The only other thing I made a note of is probably not even worth mentioning here because it's going to be in the deck guide later, but occasionally you'll want to save both copies of Imperial Diplomacy or Remedy if you haven't played them yet, in case you decide to copy Sinless later and use them to play 2 copies of 1 bronze spell. So just remember that. Very rare, but still happens. Okay. I hope you got snacks because we're only halfway there. Okay, yeah, Fur card is has a deploy ability. Again, you gotta remember that. If you draw Fur card off of Joachim and you don't even have a special in your hand, you're gonna go cry in the corner. Or just chime out like everyone does when they make a mistake. And anyway, so for card is great. You play a special from your hand, then you draw a card. That's a free card. When you play a special, you're going to give spying to a random non-spying enemy unit. So let me get to my notes. So typically you want to play for card early. So he will be a target. I mean, he's only got 3 power. But if you can get him on the board and he stays on the board, you can play, several bronze spells and continue giving spying. So he's really good to get down early if you think the round's going to go long. If you know you're going to play a short round, don't even bother with Fricart unless you just have to play like an invocation and you want to just hit your next card. But Fricart is also going to give us more options for Artaud and for coup. These are the things to remember. Anything that gets spying can be copied with coup, as well as more targets for the turncoat. Because remember, the turncoat can only ping enemies that have spying, and every time we give spying, we reduce the cooldown. So Fricart is great. I can say it's a good inclusion. It's free to play, thins another card, and also helps us reach our key cards in the final rounds. So Cantarella. And I don't know if I mentioned, like, I've kind of been going back and forth between Gorther Cantarella combo and swapping those out for the Blightmakers. Because it can be tricky. I think it's almost better to start with the Blightmakers if you're not familiar with this deck, and then go to the Cantarella version later, which I would say is more advanced. But Cantarella, just like Alchemist, can be pretty devastating for the opponent. You can just blindly play her, Sometimes that's a good play, sometimes you have to. Or you can play it just after the opponent plays Maxi. That's sometimes a good play because they may shuffle not knowing that their best target's going to be on top, or they may keep it knowing that their best card is on the top. So, but typically you want to save Cantarella for the post Gorthur turn, so that you can use the order ability of the location and move a good card to the top and then play it with Cantarella. And the other important thing to remember is that you can copy Cantarella with Coup easily, and that's sometimes a really good play because then you're thinning the deck for the opponent, but you're taking 2 of their cards, which could be 2 very key cards. All right, moving on. Roderick. Roderick is also kind of optional. Let me don't get ahead of myself. Okay, Roderick, Disloyal, gonna play on their side of the board. Gives another spying status, important to remember for the turncoats. When it's deployed, and Joachim is not going to trigger this card, so that's also important to remember. Joachim only hits the non-disloyals, so don't worry about the deploy here, but you get to look at 2 random golds from your deck, then play one of them. Doesn't sound great, but often, more often than you would think, you're going to get down to like your last 4 golds, and you get the choice of playing 1 out of seeing 2 with Roderick. And let me get to my notes here. Yeah, really great in later rounds, so you can hit those last few golds that you need. So a lot of times you want to play him after Joachim, so you can hit the cards that you don't have a choice of hitting with Joachim, and then use Roderick to hit the cards that you can choose from that you want to play. Or you can use Roderick to hit Joachim if you haven't drawn him yet, which is one of the reasons that it's really good to play with Roderick if you're playing Joachim in the same build. You can also copy Roderick with Coup, which is also great. Coup is so strong. For a card that just does 3 damage to a target, is so strong. But you can copy Roderick, so you're actually getting to see like 4 of your last gold cards, which, I mean, a lot of times you don't even have 4 left, so you're getting to play the gold that you wanted anyway. And you're going to play 2 of those if you copy it with Coup. What I was going to mention is you can also swap Roderick out if you don't feel like it's been a good card for you, and play Amnesty. A lot of people have been playing Amnesty right now because there's so many good targets in this meta. Some really great targets for Amnesty are Whisperer, and you'll actually make multiple copies of Whisperer when it's on your side, which is great. Flying Redanian in Syndicate, so you can, you know, if you are playing Amnesty, just, you know, watch for the coin count, and taking the Redanian can make a big difference. It's when you're on the other side, it's rough. And also a really great target, which is really popular in the meta right now, is Maddock. If you can steal their Maddock, that's great, because, I mean, you can hit it with Invocation too, but not always strong play. Or anything that you damage down to 3 power. Anyway, we're not even playing Amnesty, so I mean, you have the option of using it. Wow, am I already losing my voice? We haven't even gotten through the deck guide yet. Jeez. Okay, Experimental Remedy. Play a bronze unit from your opponent's graveyard. That sounds horrible. I mean, you have to wait for the bronzes to hit their graveyard. So, you're probably not even going to use it in the first round. Although it does happen. But let me tell you, Remedy is usually stronger than it looks. It can be situational. So you really have to use caution with this. Like most cards in this deck, you have to really be aware of the board state and the matchup, and what cards might be played later. So this is a good option for later rounds, and you want to consider that when you're making your current play. Keep in mind that you may want to use Remedy later. It's really hard to remember all these things all the time, but it's good to know about them. We can also use Remedy to copy our Bronze Disloyals that we've already played, like in previous rounds. So in the later round, grab it and copy something else again. And also, or after removing them with Turncoat. There's an exclamation point there. Why? I can't remember. We can use it to replay our Bronze Disloyals in later rounds. Oh, or in the current round, if you kill your informant or something, or your emissary, with a Turncoat, and you ping it, because Turncoat hits cards with spying. Then you can use Remedy and replay it, and target maybe a bronze that wasn't in play when you played the informant the first time. See? Crazy situations. Anyway. Crazy. Alright, I'm gonna stop. I mean, I say that, but anyway. Assassination. Damage a unit by 6. That is great. Alright, you know what? I gotta not comment on the card. These are things I have written down. Decrease the damage by 1 for each unit adjacent to it. So if it's sitting next to one card, you're going to deal 5 damage. If it's in the middle of 2 other cards, it's only going to deal 4 damage. Assassination, great, strong removal card at 6 points of damage. You don't see that too often. It is 5 provisions. So it's still good at 5 damage. Sometimes you really need that to take out like a Horse and Junior or whatever. Mage Torture. One of the greater cards in this deck. I want to say the most important bronze, just for Assimilate at least. It's an important card. It can be really strong in later rounds. Any round that you know is going to go long, drop a Mage Torture early, and they're going to grow a lot. So you want to save those for the big points. They can also be played in early rounds to prepare your new spies. So keep that in mind. Anything you want to play later with Arto, drop a Mage Torture and give it spying. And don't forget that it has Veil, so it's a good target for boost. And we have the Informant, which is Disloyal, going to play on their side of the board, and does have Deploy, won't be triggered by Joachim, but when it's deployed, we get to spawn a base copy of a non-disloyal bronze enemy unit, meaning that you can't copy your other spies. But there are a lot of good targets for this. I mean, when you're playing Syndicate, you copy Bloody Good Friends, get a nice 6-point and card, which is difficult to remove, and you get a Spender. So anytime you copy their cards, they give you coins, and then, yeah. A lot of good targets for this. Let me get to my notes. I have other things to say. Yeah, really versatile card. The Duchess Informant. Duchesses. She can also split pockets, like crew pockets that the opponent's trying to make, or crown splitter pockets. And that is actually really important because tunnel drill sucks. I don't have to say anything else. Also, something to remember, that your spies can deny units that the opponent plays that have like a all of one type bonus, like the whatever that elf is that plays off of Feign Death. And if you control only elves, well, you play it and they don't control only elves. And if it's your first card, then you copy it and then you control only elves, which is cool. And I've done that, that's why I'm saying it. But then you're going to play another card and maybe you won't have only elves, so what? I don't even know why I said that. Yeah, we'll typically we'll play several copies of Informant between Robin's, Vigo, Remedy, to bring it back, and Coup. You can copy the Informant, and that happens a lot against monsters. I mean, they have so many good bronzes. All right, Diplomacy. Imperial Diplomacy. Create and play a bronze card from your opponent's faction. This card is weird. You don't get to choose, and you get, what is it, 3 choices, completely random bronze cards. Sometimes you get utter trash. Not gonna lie. But sometimes you get a card that the opponent would have liked to have had. What's really as funny is when you play cards from the opponent's faction with Imperial Diplomacy and then they have to read the card, you know, because a lot of times you might be playing one deck type and you've never even seen the other half of the cards in your faction, so that's always funny. Anyway, you want to try to save Diplomacy for the Assimilate boosts, so you know, you get all your Assimilate cards down and play Diplomacy later, and it's going to trigger all those. Also, very important to remember in this deck, because we struggle with proactivity, save those Diplomacies for rounds when you get dry passed. You need Diplomacy to have a proactive play, because we have so many reactive cards. Good tip. Yes, see? I wrote often a concern for us on blue coin rounds. Alright. Oh, now we're getting the Tourney Joust. Tourney Joust. Remove an enemy unit's shield, which is kind of cool, and damage it by 4. Or, the thing that I always forget about, you can give one of your own units a shield and boost it by 4. That can be pretty useful. I always forget about it, so I can't give you any examples because I haven't done that. And I wrote Joust is okay. That's my note for Joust. Alright, moving on. Thanid Turncoat. A decent card, pretty situational. Obviously you don't play this in the Blightmaker version. These get swapped out for the Mage Assassins, the guys that electrocute the bathtub. Why did I even say that? It's not relevant. Okay, so yeah, the Turncoat is cool in Assimilate because, just like the Mage Torture, you can target anything with spine, so it can be kind of a crucial card. Oh my god, we're going on a 46-minute deck guide. Well, that's my whole purpose, is to make a, you know, in-depth. We're taking a deep dive into Assimilate. Alright. Yeah, this is going on so long, I already forgot what I was talking about. Turncoats are important to give things spying, so you can copy them with Arto, so you can damage them. Really good for long rounds, and especially in a mirror, you will get a lot of use out of this. There's spies all over the place. It's also good for baiting removal because it does damage, and people often think they need to target it. So you can play that early and protect your other cards by drawing out their removal spells. And good for finding juicy targets for your new spies. Should I even bother talking about emissary? Okay, yeah, it's a disloyal. Going to play on their side. Deploy, boost an ally by 7. So it's a 6-point value. It's actually, you know, I mean, it's okay. We only play it and Informant so that we'll have targets for Brothens. Because you get a choice of bronze to soils, and those are the only 2. So emissary is okay, probably better than Joust. That's what I wrote. Good to protect a card, but usually you need to just ditch it. I feel like I always mulligan it. Maybe I'm not a good player, I don't know. But a lot of times you'll hit it with Dead Man's Tongue. And I also have notes. Point Slam is important for us for turns in which you expect to be bled. Because we really typically want a long round to trigger all of our Assimilate cards, because that's where the power really comes from in this deck. You will really be shocked at how much your Assimilate cards grow. So maybe hold Brothens or Joachim for the rounds you know are going to be short, if you think you're going to be bled, or if you don't think you're going to win the current round. Even after playing them, like against monsters, it's kind of a risk. So hold on to those. And then just remember that Remedy and Tactical Diplomacy can kind of be like stealth weapons, and can be essential for certain matchups. All right, and then I have some notes on the matchups. So yeah, the mirror is worthless. No, I'm just kidding. Mirror is all right. Yeah, you want to get your Assimilate cards down first. I don't know how many times I've played a mirror with this deck, and there's like a 40-point differential. And I really think that's just due to the opponent getting all of their Assimilate cards on the board first, because you're just continually triggering those. So get those on the board early, unless higher priority emergence. So that's the Nilfgaard matchup. Obviously, it's going to vary with the different leader types. For Skellige, I wrote haha. It's not a good matchup for them, I guess. Scoia'tael, just think like an elf. It's actually good advice. I mean, if you've played Scoia'tael, you'll know that they play a lot of engines, and you'll want to copy those, and you'll want to just basically play the deck like it's meant to be played. Syndicate, same thing. Think like a gangster, or whatever Syndicate does. Northern Realms, I'm not sure about. They always catch me by surprise, despite their patience. Man, that was so stupid, I couldn't even laugh. Alright, monsters. I think we're actually supposed to be favored in that matchup. I guess I just haven't had the best of luck, because I have struggled against monsters. They just play so many points. You really have to know what to target. It's not necessarily playing the monster cards like they want to play them. Obviously, you want to keep an eye out for She Who Knows, because that can be a huge advantage. And if you watch the Open, that happens. So, yeah, they easily make points, so don't underestimate them. And with that being said, don't underestimate any of your opponents, because overconfidence can lead to defeat, and that leads to a lot of losses for me anytime. Yeah, it only takes that one turn where you think they're not going to play anyway. Yeah. So that's it for the guide. I'm going to step out of this and let's go try it out. All right, let's go make some people cry. Just kidding. I don't know why I said that. That was me. We're actually probably gonna hit a lot of mirror matches because everyone's playing Nilfgaard right now, and I'm still enjoy playing it. Could you tell I was lying? Mirrors are fun for, you know, certain factions. Just not enough. Alright, so yeah, Emissary, gone. You're gone. Turncoats, what the hell? Pirate's Cove. Where did that come from? So yeah, we'll probably want to copy some of those. Let's see if we can hit something better here. Joust, no. Remedy. Decent, but may not see play this round. Alright, oh, it's my turn. Okay. Okay. So, we can just drop a diplomacy here. I mean, we have two of them. Let's see what we get. Ooh, what is that? Big nasty scorpion and drake, I think. That could be useful. Not useful at all. Or we could stack our deck. Damage. Stacking. Make a decision. Better play this one because I ran out of time. Often that will happen, especially with Assimilate, because there are many decisions to be made. Many beers to finish drinking. What? They poisoned it? This bug's doing drugs. Oh, that's nasty. It's always cool because, like, you never see these cards. Only when they're played with diplomacy. See, the opponent's looking at it too. I'm like, what the hell is that? It's a syndicate card, man. It's your faction. Oh shit, see, this is what happens when I start talking. And again, we have no targets for proactivity. So I'm just gonna drop a torturer here. Can't see past this stupid microphone. Yeah, not a great target. Is it? I don't want to copy that. Man, it's the first round. I'm already getting whiny. So we just go for another diplomacy here. What do you guys think? Tell me. Oh, this is YouTube. Never mind. Okay. Oh, what do we got? What do we got? Stuff. Oh, Seductress. Not bad. Take that. Can't give it a shield, but... Oh, took my Seductress. No, he didn't. Well, we can just make another one. So, oh, we can also give it spying. I mean, give Philip the spying. That's what I meant to say. Should probably just start damaging that. It has a lot more value than this card, right? The other thing to consider with turncoats is targeting a higher point unit so that you'll get more value out of it. But sometimes you want those juicy spies for later. The bug OD'd on Fizztech. It's all fizzed out. Ooh, we can copy the poisoner dude. The trafficker. But ooh, we can also play coup on stuff. Man, I am really running out of time. Gotta keep an eye on the card count. Gotta keep an eye on the points. Get so used to making decisions, it's easy to overlook those things, right? Oh, you're the only one that gets to have Seductress? Right. That's just selfish. What's the matchup here? Do we need to make points? They're ahead on even so far. Could play coup. I think I'm just gonna take a pass. If they're ahead of us and we already used our stratagem and they've dropped 2 decent golds, well, 1 decent gold. I mean, we've only been playing bronzes, so seems like a good time to pass. We have Joachim to avoid a bleed, potentially. The question I always have is, do you mulligan Cantarella if you don't already have Gorther? That's my question. See? Why do I do that? Alright, well we can keep Gorther and we can play Cantarella later, maybe? Yeah, that was a bad decision. That was an impulsive decision.
I fear it's far too late.
Too late for what? Well, that's a spender, so that seems like a good target, right? And they may just dry pass here. No, they're not going to do that. But they're going to play some points. So do we do it? Do we go for the Alchemist? I don't know. Is it worth it? They have fewer cards, so we're not going to play an Adept. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think this is a good time to play Alchemist, actually. But we need something to start hitting. We're gonna have to play. Okay, let's play for card. Yeah, let's do that.
Two bad sides. It is better to be on the winning one.
I think the Remedy actually might have been a better choice there. Just so we're not going too tall, you know. Putting all our eggs in one basket, as they say. Oh, nice. So we got to thin cards. We got our point slam, you know, our reach. So they're gonna have less say, but we still have some strong cards here. I guess playing Joachim wouldn't have been too bad, because we could have replayed it with the Order of the Gorther. Nice, nice. What do we have left here? We do not have our toe. But see, we can see. This is what I'm talking about. You can pull our toe in the Torturer with your Joachim, but we do not have Invocation or Cantarella. Ah, Invocation. Thank you. That is an important card. And actually, it's really nice that we didn't draw the coup. That was a risk. Because if we had drawn it, then we went. Well, we still had a tactic for Minnow. But man, I gotta sit up. I really can't see over this thing. Excuse me. Hey, we haven't even used any leader abilities yet. That's good. Hey, there's a good early target. We could just go ahead and drop one of these, maybe. Not very strategic, but it's an engine, right? That would have been a good target for copying. See, and I mean, look, Roderick is going to get us to Cantarella. Which is great. Oh, we can't give that spying anyway. I think we should just go ahead and... no, we can save Vincent, assuming they don't play Defender or something. Then we use Vincent on the Defender, but we can take that one out later. We're not going to give anything else spying here. Just start out with something small, right? Yeah, I feel like I use Emissary on Vigo more than Informant. Poison? Man, haven't seen this in a while. That's a good locking target. And we really don't have anything good for Athens.
Your name, young man. The man should be cursed into an urchin.
But I'm just gonna drop it because I'm running out of time. I already struggle with that, and trying to talk while I'm thinking is difficult. Gotta get used to it though. If I'm gonna be streaming every night now. So he has Adrenaline 5. You're just gonna poison all your stuff, aren't you? They could potentially purify Ronaldo or whatever it's Roland. Yeah, we need to drop Joachim, which they may poison, but we don't even have any coins, do we? Oh, I guess we're taking that.
Nothing tickles my tits quite like a good secret.
I don't know if we should have. We should probably save a lock for like a sea jackal or something. But we want to get Joachim out early so that we can play the remaining cards with Roderick. Oh, that's bad. Poisoning our toe. Does that mean we should lock the other brother? Yeah, we should just go ahead and get our second copy of Joachim, I think.
Nothing will stop us. Enough! Let us finish this.
Do I enjoy torture? Perhaps. A bit.
Yep, purify. What? Oh, did they just screw up? What happened? Oh, I totally missed that. Well, at least it's on the VOD now, right? Alright, on game 2.
I've no patience for
Precision strike. Been seeing a lot of that lately. Squirtel's back. Advanced tongue. Man, we're gonna have some really nice remedy targets. So we can drop coup now. I think I'll drop that. Diplomacy is so weird. I'm surprised they didn't boost that. I think I really just want to grab an assassination and take care of that now. What do you think? Yeah.
a clever maneuver. Target acquired.
I guess I can just sit up straight for once. Alright, what are we doing? Not the opponent, I mean us. I don't really care what they're doing because I'm constantly roping. Yes, I'm a roper. This one. Do we give it spying? Do we copy it? Do we lock it? All of the above? Thing is, we don't want to give last say to Scoia'tael ever again, because they always play Gord now. Of course, they play Dryad's Caress too, you know?
You weren't expecting this, were you?
I don't know, that still seems like a good lock target. That was hasty. I mean, if they purify it, sure. We only have so many locking targets with Scoia'tael. You know, there's the Seer. That's always a good locking target. But if they already have a Sorceress in play, which is smarter than playing the Seer first, because the Seer is strong. That's what's going to get all the orbs going. But still, now they have the Seer in play. Maybe we should just go ahead and drop for cart. Get that going. Go ahead and do some thinning.
With our aid or without it.
We actually get to thin 3 cards off of that, which is nice. Do you want Joust or Diplomacy? I think we want to keep Joust. Nice, nice. Yeah, I did forget about the ale also. And it's funny too, like, the opponent always hits the orbs off of their boosted sorceress. I mean, every time I get a sorceress to 6 or more, no orbs. But we're talking about Nilfgaard, we're not talking about Squirtle. No, we're talking about all of it. That's the whole game. You gotta know your opponent too. Well, should we just make our own sorceress? I think we want to stretch out this round also, so that they have to trigger the orbs, right? And oh yeah, maybe we just play another turncoat. Get some value off of that. What was, oh, I was gonna copy the sorceress, but mostly I just want to stretch out this round so they don't get any carryover from the orbs. I don't know if you heard Wanged in his interview saying, you know, orb is the most interesting card right now. Wow, really? They didn't like that for a card, huh? Wow, got a leader charge. Yeah, they saw the power of having 2 turncoats in play with 2 high value, high point spying cards. The thing that a lot of people forget, and I forget too, is that the turncoat has a cooldown of 2. So it's not as good as you might think. So we're up a card, but they still have orbs. So I say we play it out. Oh, you know what? See, I did it. Wait, was that on cooldown? I don't know. I always forget to play the, use the turncoat order before playing. I mean, that goes for anything. Saber-toothed tiger, like, you just gotta remember to use your order first. Oh, that's the one you want to copy. We could get an emissary off Braden's and boost our sorceress, try to get an orb, get our own carryover. Or we could copy the Whisperer. I'm gonna try that.
Take him to the woods and release the hound.
Because we're not gonna get as much value off the Whisperer as they are. See? I never hit the orb. But this is nice. I'll take that. I would say we're ahead on even, but they still have 8 points here. But I'd rather them have 8 points in this round than 8 points in the next round. Know what I mean? Well, they got some good targets. I mean, some good triggers. So they've triggered both, and they still have 6 points from their scribe. We could go ahead and play a Whisperer, but I'd rather play that early in the next round, maybe. Could also just invo their Sorceress. And try to guarantee last say, right? Or do we save invo? I was actually thinking we could save invo for the gourd, but yeah, if they're gonna get last say, that's not gonna happen. Wow, so that played for 18 points. 18 points. Don't chase card advantage. Go watch Spyro's Common Mistakes. Excellent advice. That is such a common mistake. It's one of the worst. What? Why did I draw this? Oh, because I used info. Wake up, man. Oh, we get invisible cards now. Man, how am I already running out of time? Oh, that's some good reach. Right pass. Yeah, and they're still. Ooh, we could play our alchemist. They're still going to have last say for their gourd, so that's the thing about losing the first round to Squirtle. That's the problem. You get an Imperial Diplomacy. Oh! Oh man. Feels good. Feels good. Not that we have a nature card, but I'd rather them not play their 11 provision card, right? So we have Joachim, we can get 2 out of 3 of those. Potentially, we have Roderick. We just keep this? Yeah. Wait, I don't want that. Do I? We don't have any nature card. Oh, we did play. I forgot we played a Rebuke off of the Sorceress. I had this feeling in my gut that I shouldn't have. Okay, wait. That's a non-disloyal, so we can actually play that off of Joaquin. That is, oh man, that's gonna be good. That's gonna be so good. That's so funny. Okay, so we can grab Cantarella with Roderick. Oh, we can use their Heat Wave. Oh, but they're not even going to play Gourd. So, see, so many interesting things. So many possibilities with Nilfgaard Assimilate. You might enjoy Nilfgaard, Assimilate. You won't enjoy playing against it, bro. But you might enjoy playing it. Wow, I'm dropping frames just trying to make a YouTube video. Rebuke. You've been rebuked. Mage Torture or Vigo? What's the play? Those are the two best options, I think. Because this one lets us give something spying, which we're probably not gonna copy. Also has Veil. But, I mean, if they play Circle of Life, then you don't want to have... Well, I guess we were going to use Emissary anyway. So now we play Vigo, right? I mean, we could copy that for... Wait, what? It's a 7-point. Oh, we should definitely copy that.
You will not regret this, sir.
Oh. So we're actually playing more than 3 bronzes. That's right. So we are not going to have that option. Man, I'm dropping some frames. What is that about? Ah, see? What did I tell you? I was actually thinking it was going to trigger Assimilate twice because we were going to have an informant. That would have been great, but that didn't happen. Did it? Hey, we have a great target for Rebuke now. Let's see if we can hit the... Man, they are just not playing anything, are they? Oh, well, whatever. I was thinking we would, Really? For some reason, I forgot about that card. But you don't have only elves. Tragic. Hey, you know what? Let's heat wave. Oh man, this is gonna be crazy. Alright. You get to have that back. I think I'll take this one. That's the play right there, man. Woo! Nice. That was the play. Tell you, man. Assimilate is crazy. Should we just use the rebuke on that? Save our lock? What else are we gonna lock though? I guess it's good to keep your options. No, let's play Arto. Yeah. That's better. There we go. So we're just hoping that we're gonna have more points on the board than they can get with Gord, right?
The earth will will flow with the blood of Enshe, the blood of elves.
Doesn't do us a whole lot of good to hit that one with rebuke, does it? But it's still 5 points. So.
I shall flog them into submission.
That's crazy. Oh, we didn't get death blow. Ah, gotta know how to play their own cards against them properly.
Feign not ignorance. Remember to whom you speak.
Oh no, you're not. Wait. Oh yeah, because you get to double it. That's right. So the last card's Gourd. Oh, but see, they're gonna have Vitality, so yeah, it wasn't enough points. Hey, nice. I actually hit some good magic. Well, Pirate's Cove was kind of. Okay, so that's Assimilate. Do you have tips for playing with Assimilate or winning with it? Do you have a good strategy for beating it? Do you have a favorite faction, a favorite leader, or favorite deck? Would you like to see more of these guides? Tell me what you'd like to see. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll provide a link to the deck list for you to study and directly import if you want. And I'll also provide a text version of the guide, which I spent a really long time writing. But that's all I got for today, my friends. I'm Octo. Catch me on Twitch for live streams, or find me on Twitter for everything else. Until then, I hope you've enjoyed the video and the deck guide. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.